Going on everyone, today I will be going over the PvP and PvE zones looting mechanics in Dune Awakening. With this information, not only will you be able to maximize your loot potential, but efficiently maximize your looting potential to help you even more with your grinding in Dune Awakening, so we can all get to that lovely, lovely deep desert. Now, with that being said, if you aren't already subscribed, make sure to hit the subscribe button below to help support me and my channel. Would be highly appreciated. As you can tell, I'm a very new channel, but any likes or subscribes or even comments help out heaps. Now, before we get into the looting mechanics part of it, if you've never played an MMORPG or a game similar to Dune Awakening that has its own dedicated PvE and PvP zones, then I'm just going to quickly go over briefly what those two zones actually are. So PvE zones, or player versus environment zones, are essentially just areas in which computer controlled enemies roam around and attack you more or less when you're in distance of them on site. You'll find that most of the Haga Basin is actually a PvE zone, and there are multiple sites in which NPCs can be found in that roam around and shoot you on sight. These are the main enemy of the game, and they are the bandits. Now, the bandits can be found in multiple sites, including caves, shipwrecks, testing stations, and even outposts. Pretty much most of the POIs in the map of this game have bandits running around somewhere to stop you getting your precious loot. Now, the other major enemy in the game, which I'm sure we've all found out the hard way, is the sandworm. So the sandworm can obviously as well be in any open sand in the game. He doesn't care if you're in a PvE or a PvP zone, he's just going to be there to take all your loot and ruin your life. Now onto the fun one, the PvP zone, or player versus player zone. In these areas, there can be not only computer controlled enemies from a PvE zone, but also another player like yourself to hunt down and kill you, or vice versa, for you to hunt down and kill them. Now don't stress if you're not a big PvP player, because the only PvP zones on the Haga Basin map are the shipwrecks, and most of them are pretty small zones. The first shipwreck you find in the game in the very bottom tutorial area is also PvE, so it's only the shipwrecks from the middle of the map to the top of the map that are the actual PvP zones. Another thing to note with these PvP zones in general is the good thing about this game is anytime you're about to do a zone switch, whether that be from a PvE to a PvP or a PvP to a PvE, or even from a PvE to a trading post, which is completely stops you from pulling out any weapons or anything, it will actually give you a little warning at the top of your screen saying that the zone is changing in 4 seconds. So if you do accidentally step into a PvP area, don't worry, you're not going to instantly get shot down. You'll just be warned and be like, okay, I need to leave this if I do not want to PvP. Another thing as well, I don't know if it's just because my servers maybe are more of a low population server, especially being Australian, the servers aren't very big in itself, but every time I've actually gone to a shipwreck, I have never encountered another player other than the very start of the game, which was a PvE zone anyway. So the likelihood of you bumping into someone is pretty low unless you get pretty unfortunate. Anyway, I've rambled on enough and I've given you brief descriptions of exactly what these zones are for the new players. Let's get into the meat and potatoes and why you probably clicked this video, the looting mechanics of both these zones. Now, I want to say that there are two major key differences between these zones to keep track of, and that is who can get the loot in the zone and also the respawn timers of the chests of all the loot in these zones. So to put it simple, any PvE zone you're in, which the most popular one would be the testing stations, the loot in this area is shared loot and the respawn timer on the chest is 45 minutes. Whereas the PvP zones, i.e. the shipwrecks, are a 20-minute respawn timer, but the loot in this area is a first come, first served basis. It is not shared loot. This basically means that say you've come to a shipwreck and there's currently no loot because a player looted 7 minutes before you, you have to wait 20 minutes after whoever looted last from you to then get new loot from this area. Now this makes it a little bit more tricky because you don't know how long ago this person looted before you. They could have looted 18 minutes before you, so you only need to wait 2 minutes. Or they could have literally just left and you didn't see them 3 minutes ago, so now you have to wait 17 minutes. If you're really needing to farm a lot of shipwreck materials and you do manage to get somewhere first, I would recommend setting a 20-minute timer and coming back exactly 20 minutes every time so you can farm this a bit more efficiently. If you don't, it's no biggie. There's multiple shipwrecks in the game, and also there is a chance that someone could just happen to get there before your 20 minutes is up, because you can't always be there 20 minutes on time unless you're literally waiting around there for 20 minutes exactly. The best case scenario is if you do actually happen to catch that person looting at the shipwreck, either try and kill them, take their stuff and set your 20-minute timer, or wait until they've left, set your 20-minute timer, and then you know that in 20 minutes that place should be available, unless that person also just happens to be farming shipwrecks and they set a 20-minute timer. Which then maybe there might be more of a PvP battle than some of you pacifists were anticipating for. Well, there you have it. There's pretty much the two biggest differences in the PvP and the PvE zones in Dune Awakening. I hope this guide was useful for you guys. I think it's been pretty useful for me, to be honest, even just like researching this kind of stuff, because it makes looting so much more easier knowing that the chests are gone in these exact times, because you know, I could off be doing more useful things while waiting for this loot to respawn, like gathering more resources or completing a couple contracts or even completing a couple main quests, you know, just to start getting my levels up and my intel points and all that kind of stuff, while knowing that in the background that loot is slowly generating for me to come get later. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this was all useful for you. Make sure to like and subscribe and leave some comments if there's any stuff I've left out, or maybe things that you want to know about and I can make a guide for in the future, because I've been having a lot of fun with Dune. I've been having a lot of fun making these guides, and oh my god, it's been so useful just for me, even like doing the research and stuff, because there's just a lot of stuff that I wasn't sure about. That's why I started making these guides, to be honest. There was a lot of stuff in the game that I just really wasn't sure how to see how it works, and because it's such a new game, you know, it's not like a super old game where you can just go through like constant threads and wikis that other people have already made from exploring and discovering all this stuff. So I'm excited to get to the deep desert though. I'll be definitely making more guides then. But have a good day everyone.